guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm once again answering some of your questions, like what do I think of Rolex's second price increase this year, and what in my opinion is the state of Ming watches. All that and more in today's episode. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my gold Girard-Perregaux Evo Flyback. Absolutely loving it. Kind of my douchey watch, but it scratches that itch. Also, guys, don't forget to check out delraywatch.com. We're just uploading a ton of new inventory. I mean, lots and lots and lots of stuff is going up, including this H. Moser Pioneer red dial with the extremely rare bracelet on Delray Watch. This beautiful Vacheron Overseas dual time, current generation, box papers, and the best price around, and this extremely cool, and not to mention very well priced, Breguet Type 20 flyback in the rare gold case. All that and much more at delraywatch.com, link in the description below. Now, yeah, guys, these are some of the questions you asked me on Instagram at Federico Talks Watches. A few times a month, I put up a Q&A picture. Feel free to ask your question there when you see it. I take it down when I have enough questions, but please don't DM me. I do not check them. Now, starting in no particular order, Redondo Dom says, "Hey Fed, what do you think of odd-shaped watches like tonneau and rectangular watches? Why are they not more popular?" I quite like them. My personal favorite is Tortue. Though tonneau is very cool and rectangular can work. Why are they not more popular? Well, they're just niche, right? Watches are famously round. Yes, Cartier is famous for their tank, style watch, the rectangular watch. Frank Mueller does tonneau watches. They're more popular than you think, but of course, nothing is going to usurp the round watch as kind of like the king of watchmaking, or at least the king of shapes in terms of watchmaking. It just fits the wrist very, very well. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't experiment with some other case shapes. CBello66. Great show, Fed. Thank you, sir. I've been following for years. What is your view on Ming watches? Would their value hold over time? This is a very tough question for me, but I'm going to try and answer it objectively as possible. I love Ming watches overall. I used to own one. They're a very cool kind of, they were a micro brand, now they're more of an independent brand. They're a little bit bigger than a micro brand. They exploded onto the scene. They made very cool watches, very low price points, but they sold out immediately, and that's awesome for them. And as that started happening, they released more watches, increased their price points, also increased the complexity of their movements. But I think they got too big for, their growth was too big to sustain. They had a few snafus, people selling out too quickly, bots people going on their website and crashing when things sold out too quickly, bots buying watches. Then they had the whole Messina Lab thing where, the watches had defects and they wouldn't really, their answer to the buyers when they tried to return them was they don't have defects, and it was handled extremely poorly and it left a very bad taste in everybody's mouth. And that's kind of started the decline of Ming. Now, their customer service has improved, but you can't mess up that royally and expect to recover immediately. Not to mention their price points have gone up. Also, I think they're now selling straps, which I find to be exorbitantly expensive. However, that being said, I still love their watches. Are they holding value? They used to hold value very well. They really did. But now in the secondary market, I'm having an extremely hard time selling them because of the perception of the brand a little bit. The hype has faded a tiny bit, which is fine. That happens. And of course, that awful snafu that, they were a part of, and just the other issues, that I mentioned where I think they grew too quickly, too soon, and they couldn't handle it. Do I think they'll hold value over time? No. At least right now, they absolutely do not hold value over time. Could that change? Sure, but messing up is a lot easier than recovering, so we shall see. T-Man making moves. What's up, Fed? What is the best watch to wear for a funeral? Flashy or not flashy? Asking for a friend. Well, to me, T-Man, a funeral is a pretty somber occasion, so I would wear the same watch I'd wear if I wore a tuxedo. Now, don't wear a tuxedo to a wedding, a dark suit, but I would wear the least flashy watch I could. A small dress watch, time only, on a dark alligator strap, in my opinion, is ideal. You don't want to draw attention to yourself. You're at a funeral, you're there to mourn, and the attention should be obviously on the deceased, but that's just my opinion. But I would wear the least flashy thing possible. Gmacho52, hey Fed, who do you think is going to take the World Cup this year? That is a sore subject. My beloved Italy did not qualify even though we won the Euros last time around. So I'm all for Team USA this year, though I don't think they're quite ready to win it all. If I had to place a bet, I'd go with either France or England, even though I really don't like their soccer teams. I'm Team Italia all the way. Arhanzo85, hey Fed, my wife likes to wear a watch, something I take pride in getting her into, but she doesn't set her watch often because her nails make it difficult. Do you think that a Cartier with a quartz movement would be a good option? She really likes the look of them. Well, this is a tough question because I do know I have some pretty hardcore female watch geeks that watch here. So what I'm going to say about female watch wearers doesn't necessarily apply to them. But having worked years in retail for Cartier and also being a wholesale director for Piaget, another female heavy brand, women don't tend to love automatic or mechanical movements. Once again, this doesn't apply to all female collectors. They like the convenience of quartz. Set it and forget it. In fact, half the time the husbands would come in buying an automatic watch for their wife. I'd warn them, and then the wife would come back a week later and exchange it for a quartz. Watches are jewelry to a lot of women, and they just don't want to futz around with it. So yeah, am I a fan of quartz? Not for me particularly, but for this type of collector, it makes sense, and Cartier makes excellent female watches. Truly iconic, and I say go for it. Last but not least, Luiso Cortez. What are your thoughts on Rolex raising prices for the second time this year? I think you're referring to Europe. They have just raised prices for the second time this year. This is very uncommon, but I think it's more due to the fact of the crumbling euro, or maybe the strong dollar. Basically, watches try to maintain an even price level across all currencies, watch brands. The euro is extremely weak right now. The pound is extremely weak. The yen is also extremely weak. So they are raising prices to kind of keep up with the Swiss franc and the US dollar. Because if a watch is 10,000 euros in Europe and $11,000 in America, and the euro used to be at 1.3 and now it's at 1-to-1 flat, it just doesn't make any sense. So they had to raise prices to make sure there wasn't a price discrepancy. And I think, and I can't confirm this, but in my opinion, this is entirely due to the fluctuations in currency that is happening in Europe at the moment. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really does help. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any content. And of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.